What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day today. I have with me, once again, Mr. Joe Schmo. How's it going, bro?
Good morning, sir. Good morning. It's a little early for me, but I'm here to talk about some card games.
A little early at, almost 1 p.m. afternoon.
Sir, I work night shift. It is early for me.
I messaged him a couple minutes ago. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm just waking up. I'm grabbing coffee. Give me a sec. So, but this week we are going to be talking about something that we did last week. We did the last week when, as of the recording of this, we went to a convention. We went to Animazement in Raleigh, North Carolina, which one of our buddies, Boxu-chan, which there was a video posted up at some point talking about we were going to be at this event and helping out our buddy Nick from Boxu-chan at this convention in the dealer's room, selling stuff, and he was like selling anime DVDs and stuff. And he's been really cool and decided, yo, Cade, do you want to sell cards? And was been very awesome about that, letting me like sell cards through his booth and everything. As well as just letting Joe sell like video games and shit. But that's what we kind of wanted to talk about. I'm sorry?
No, I was just saying it was a fun time. Nick's a good guy. He's a good pal.
He's just a good guy. No, he's really awesome. I'll try to see if I can put a link in the description for him. But the main thing is there's a lot of things we learned at this event, at this convention. This was my first year actually being part of the dealer's room. I helped out a little bit last year, just the first year back from COVID and everything. Nick was still selling last year, but we had I wasn't like part of the dealer's setup or whatever, but he got me on it for this year. We were able to get the tables and everything set up and all the product out. So that was it was very interesting overall. It wasn't as many as it was last year, but I figured we would talk about like our overall experience as well. But then there's a couple things I did want to point out and talk about. Things we learned. We learned a ton of stuff at this convention, at this event. And it was, there were several things that just surprised the hell out of me, but I will let you go first, bro. Like, how was your overall experience?
It's going well. At the time of this recording, my vlog from the whole event just went up. So, if you really want an in-depth look of how it looks like when you're a vendor on Thursday, the beginning of the con, and no one's around, take a look. But overall, we did learn a lot this year. We learned a bit more on the business side when it comes to cards and other things. It was a lot better than last year. Last year, it took us 6 or so hours to set up. This time, it only took us a couple, which is nice.
The extra hands
but
always
then
help.
again, last year, we did have 3 years worth of stuff built up to sell. So, that does take effect. But overall, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun living in the moment, which the vlog will definitely, show that. And when it comes to the business aspect, which we can touch on in depth later, we, as a whole for him, and as someone who's trying to help him get a physical store, we learned a lot.
Which I know you had told me to like try to do a vlog as well, and I was just like, sure, that sounds like a fun idea. Never fucking recorded anything.
Nope, living in the moment, man. That's what happens.
I was like, because we don't live far from Raleigh. Like, I live closer to it than Joe does. So I was like, oh, cool. I can just say, hey, record something like we're going to AZ, this, that. Fucking forgot about it. Got to the convention, went ahead and checked into the hotel and everything. It was just like, yeah, maybe I could record now. Completely fucking forgot. So nothing on my end. It's literally all going to be from Joe's perspective and everything. I show up in there, so it's whatever.
Yeah, go check out your boy.
Yeah. So like you said, we learned several things from the business aspect of it. So one of the biggest things for this is in years past pre-COVID, I have gone in there and bought Weiss cards, both sealed product and singles. And that was one of the weirdest things this year. Outside of there were people selling sealed product, like the Hololive Premium boosters. One was like extremely overpriced. It was like $65 when they're like $40. And then another vendor was selling them for $40. So they knew what the fuck was going on. But in terms of Weiss singles this year, it was really crazy. We were the only people really selling singles. There was one other dude selling a Danmachi SP and like one double rare. And that was it. That was the only two Weiss cards he had. Otherwise, like I went over to his booth because one of the cool aspects of being one of the dealers is that everyone has their shit set up before the convention lets people go down and it's open for people to go to the dealers. Mm-hmm. That we were able to walk around and to go check out everything before the crowd came down. And so other dealers are coming up to us saying, yo, I want those DVDs, or I want this or that or the other. And I was able to go around and look, and I saw these other vendors that had their Weiss cards and everything, or like just product in general. And the only other thing this guy had was like a couple trial decks that were like $100 a pop for like Madoka Magica, and I forget what the other one was, but it was way up there. It was just like, oh, this is it. That is your sealed product.
Yeah, some people. So there's just one seller every year that has a lot of. They have Weiss,
yeah,
but they upcharge so much that they've become infamous amongst the North Carolina Weiss crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time they show up, oh, cool, they have this kind of out of print product. I don't want to pay $10 a pack for it.
Like, no, there's no point in that.
So one of the big things that we've talked to Weiss players and other people that come across this weekend was how when actual players sell the product, they sell them for a fair price.
Yes, agreed. Which is what we were doing. We were selling like the singles that I was doing because I had several binders. We were doing 10% under whatever, prices were, reasonable prices were on tcgplayer.com and whatnot. And obviously a cross-reference for other stuff when people were asking about cards. Like say if it was like a JP set we didn't have, I pulled up other sites and was like, hey, you can get this online if you want it. I just don't have it type thing. But sorry, go ahead.
I was just leewaying for you to talk about it. And
yeah, you're good.
Basically be like, yeah, we when players sell product, we know what we're doing because we try to keep it fair for the rest of the player base to get some. Exactly. Like the bulk we had.
Oh yeah. We had I was able to scrounge up. I say scrounge up, it wasn't difficult. 2 big ass boxes where there's like road sections of everything of like commons, uncommons, a binder of just rares, my good binder with like SPs, double rares and stuff like that. There was a good variety of stuff. And a lot of times maybe someone would come up and be like, oh, hey, I like such and such character from this anime, or they were cosplaying as like a specific one. If I thought their cosplay was good enough, I just, go over, grab like a couple cards of like a Love Life character or something. If they're like, say if they were cosplaying your girl, Nozomi or something, I was like, oh, that's a really cool fucking cosplay right there. Go over, grab like a couple Nozomi cards, and I'm like, here you go. And they're like, oh, thank you. It's just like so cool to see reactions for that. But
yeah, it was nice.
It was really, I really loved that with like that Bang Dream. I got confused with one person asking for Project Sekai, and my brain thought Project Diva, so Koji's gonna kill me on that one. I was like, oh yeah, do you have any Project Sekai? And my brain went immediately to Project Diva, and I'm like, yeah, I got a couple in the back here, and I immediately start showing like Miku and Luca, and they're like, that's not Project Sekai. I'm like, oh shit, I know what the series is. My brain just completely farted on that.
All the same stuff. It's all right. It's all the same stuff.
I mean, it's yeah, but it's like you can anger that crowd if you want, by all means. No, but then like one of the biggest things for this entire thing, which there's I guess I'll talk about this other thing first. Like I said, so we were the only people selling Weiss singles. Would you believe? Because Nick had a whole bunch of Magic the Gathering cards. I had a whole bunch of just bulk Magic the Gathering cards sitting in like a big ass binder and a couple boxes that I just wasn't using anymore. They've just been sitting in my closet and whatnot and just kind of built up over the years that I'm like, I'm not really going to play ever again. Let me get rid of these. We were the only people selling Magic singles.
Yep.
The Weiss people were the only people selling Magic the Gathering singles at this. There were people selling product, and I'm not knowledgeable on like individual Magic the Gathering product, like boxes or their pre-constructed decks for like Commander or whatever. but we were the only ones selling singles. That blew my fucking mind. I legit was like, you're kidding. And I was like, all the other MTG people coming up to look through, Nick had a whole bunch of binders of like some different cards. He was like, oh, these are probably good, and ended up, having a whole bunch of good shit in there. It's like, oh, a lot of these are really cool, people will want, and people, going through those, like, they were tearing into all of our binders, whether it was the MTG or the Weiss side, that just, it was absolutely crazy that we were the only ones selling that, and I'm shocked. I'm like, I'm not the MTG guy. I don't want to be known as the MTG guy.
So, I mentioned in one of the videos I ended up recording this weekend, that people are slowly discovering some stuff goes hand in hand with anime. One of them being video games, because obviously JRPGs, anime-centered games like Dengo Buko Fighting Climax.
Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax.
Whatever. It's too early. But point is, people are discovering that video games go hand in hand, which is what that video centers around.
Mm-hmm.
But they're slowly realizing card games do as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be one of those things that once it catches on, it will catch on. I feel like in a year or two, you'll start seeing a bunch more Magic stuff pop up. You'll see, obviously, Pokemon's already started popping up because, it's Pokemon, and that's like one of the most profitable card games at this time.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere will slowly catch on. As long as we're ahead of the curve, that's what matters.
Pretty much. I've even contemplated getting into Pokemon myself. I mostly just, there's a lot of Pokemon cards I pick up just for collecting purposes because I grew up with like the games and shit.
God bless you, son.
I know. I'm not going for some of the crazy shit though. I'm like, oh, look at this, this neat little one of like, maybe some of the legendaries from Ruby Sapphire was like my favorite generation. If I see ones like there, I'll grab stuff and just be like, here, just little collection purposes, and that's basically it. But in terms of playing the game, I know how to play it. I have no clue where to start for building a fucking deck anymore because it's completely changed from when I started when I was like way younger. So back in my day, no, honestly, the rules haven't really changed that much. It's just like how decks are like set up. Back when I was like in high school, it's different. It's still the same overall thing, obviously, but that's whatever. So there were plenty of other people selling Pokemon. There was like several vendors set up with like what do you call them? The little protective like cases and everything. And just had a whole bunch of ones just splayed out and just going like just a whole bunch of really nice Pokemon cards out there. I will say this: MTG and Pokemon have some nice fucking artwork, especially like more recent Pokemon cards. It has some very nice artwork. It's a lot different than just, we're going to take a picture of a shot from the anime, So.
Yeah, Pokemon has some beautiful artwork, especially the trainer galleries that they're popping out. Oh my, it's so good. So good.
There's several that I would love to pick up, but they're just too fucking pricey, but it's whatever. So there was no shortage of Pokemon vendors. There was definitely just like a lot of those, but we also weren't. The people come up to us trying to ask for Pokemon cards, but we didn't try to. We immediately directed them to one of the other groups that we knew and we've talked to and associated with before in the past, because they're really cool people. We were like, nope, go over to this one. These people are like directly diagonal over this way. They have the Pokemon stuff, and they're like, thank you. And just so
yeah, no, we developed a relationship with some of the vendors where they would physically bring people over because they knew we had stuff.
Exactly.
Like they would leave their booth, direct a person straight to us.
Once again, people, like you said, they would come over and go, these are the guys with the MTG cards. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be known as that guy.
Tough. For this weekend, you will be known as the MTG guy.
I was I'm not the box man, but I am the card man. I don't know. That was some crazy stuff. One of the other crazy things that I wanted to talk about, I've been wanting to talk about this for a bit, but I feel this is the best way to segue to it, as well as have a platform to discuss this. Y'all are getting out of hand with grading cards. I understand like collectability for some stuff, but we had like two people, one person in particular we're going to talk about in a minute, but I had at least two people come up to me trying to ask if I would purchase their graded cards. And I very politely, obviously, told them I do not wish to pick up graded cards. I do not wish to grade any of my own, or get any of my SPs or anything graded. I just don't see the point in it. Maybe there's an appeal to someone, but I do not like it. And like I said, in the past, Nick has also let me sell cards at like other events that we've done, like other little like yard sale type events or whatever. And it's like not like a convention, but like just little mini gatherings where people come to like get retro games and stuff like that. And I will have like Weiss Schwarz, and I'll be selling singles and whatnot. And we'll have people. I'll go around to the other vendors, and the one in particular, I'm not going to call them out, had all like a stack. When I say a stack, I mean like one of those really long boxes, like single line boxes of just nothing but graded cards in there. And it's like, oh, a rare, like this basic rare, not a triple rare, not a SP or anything, just a basic ass rare from like Persona 5 that's like a 50-cent card, because I looked it up afterwards. They're like, oh, this is a perfect, mint grade 10 graded card. Oh, we're trying to sell this for like $50. Like, what? I can understand a little bit of the appeal for wanting to get like SPs or something like sealed up and in mint condition. I can understand that to a degree. But it's gotten out of hand where people are like, oh, I'm trying, would you be willing to buy this graded card of like, I'm like, no. Like, sometimes I'll indulge them and be like, how much are you wanting? Just to see what numbers they throw out. I'm not interested in getting it. I just want to know what crack they're smoking. And the person's like, oh, this is a $50 card, typically. It's graded. I want $3,000 for this.
Yeah, no, so
what the fuck?
The graded platform, we're gonna go back to
Go for it.
We're gonna go back to the early 2020s, known as the vid time. So the 2020 really sparked the collecting, and it all can be stemmed back to Pokemon, because it got big because some big name streamers and influencers started playing Pokemon. Well, it's more buying and getting stuff graded, because well, I got money, I got nothing to do.
It was the same thing for
how it
like
started.
Yeah, it was the same thing for like video games, because people were trying to get the physical copies of stuff. I mean,
exactly.
I know that's something you told me a lot about.
Yeah, basically, right now for video games, I'll do a quick spiel on this. We're in a bubble, so games are very high, and then sooner or later that bubble's going to pop, and all the a good chunk of stuff's going to go down. But the problem is, I don't know when that bubble is. But beside the point, it's the same with cards, especially Pokemon cards right now. The bubble is so high, especially for the old original base set stuff, because people are like, I want that base set Charizard. I'll pay $200,000 to wear it as a bling piece on my neck.
God,
it's bad. But that's why a lot of people get stuff graded now. You can thank Jake, or was it Logan Paul? Yeah, was it Jake Paul?
I don't.
One of the Paul brothers. They got into it, and then both of them got into it at that point. Then they started getting stuff graded, and then people started realizing, oh, I can flip a piece, and that's like $20 and make it $2,000 if it's a good grade.
Yeah,
and then it goes downhill. Same thing for the video games. There's literally, I use this as an example as at one of my panels that I hosted early in the year. There is a graded World Championship cart from the Nintendo World Series. It usually goes for like $1,000, $2,000. They have it for $25,000 graded in an okay condition. It's like a 6. But they want $25,000 for it.
Mm-hmm. And that was like, once again, like you said, the okay condition ones are still like exorbitant. The other person that came up that I specifically was like trying to figure out, he was like trying to ask a price for like an SP that was graded, that he got graded, showed me some Pokemon cards that was like, I don't remember which ones, but he was just like, oh, this particular shadowless, like it's a grade 6, like a Beckett grade 6 or something like that, oh, I can sell this for like $6,000.
Then go sell it for 6,000.
But I'm like, then have fun going and selling that for 6. I obviously was very polite. The person, I do not feel like the person meant any ill will. I really do not. Unlike the people trying to pawn off like fucking 50-cent cards for $50. I think those are just like people who have malicious intent that just want, like I said, just want to turn a quick buck. They're like, we do not give a fuck. If we can just get this like basic grading, someone's not going to know. Someone's not going to give a fuck. They're going to pay for this because of that craze. And the person was like, okay, I have this Weiss SP. It was a Azure Lane character. I do not remember which one. I think it was Yudachi. Don't hold me to that. And I looked up on like UUT and whatnot, and it said it was about $60 to $65 for a regular SP. So I was trying to help him like try to like figure out like if there was like a ratio or if there was like a formula you could go by, like, oh, if it's this much, multiply it by X to get how much a graded should be. But then they went into all this other stuff of, oh, well, this is a Beckett, it's a black label, which they've only made X number of amounts. At this point, I think they were just reciting stuff they had heard. I don't think, once again, I don't think it was malicious. I think they were just sharing their knowledge. They did inform me about a lot of interesting things, and I'm very thankful for that. But at the same time, I'm not wanting to sound like I'm riffing on this person completely. It just was ridiculous how much this is presented to people as you can turn a quick dollar. There's going to be people just somehow magically carrying like, $2,000 to $3,000 worth of like in cash on them at like a fucking event. And you can just go up to a vendor and be like, oh, sure. Let me sell you this. No, I don't want it. I don't personally. Maybe there's another, but there was no other Weiss vendors for this person to go to. So I was literally the only one that they could be like, oh, hey, you willing to buy this? And I went, no, thank you.
No, thank you. I don't feel like being stuck with this.
Exactly. They were very polite, but at the same time, I'm just like, this is getting out of hand. In general, not with this person specifically. This, like, just the whole graded shit, I just wanted to say, just stop. Like, I'm sorry, you're just quit. That's all I'm going to say on that, and we'll move on for the rest of the event. Unless you had anything else you wanted to throw out there, brother.
No, all I'm going to say is don't be part of the problem.
There you go.
That is all I'm going to say.
So, that being said, I have nothing with people who want to collect stuff. Like, that was one thing that was very interesting. To shift a little bit, there were people who, like, say they just wanted to collect, like, a particular character or something like that, and I was like, I should have this particular character from, like, maybe Konosuba, or, what was another one people were at? Like, well, there's, like, Fate stuff as well. Someone wanted a particular Mordred that I had. And just, it was really cool to see people just collecting because it was the character. That's still cool. Very rarely was it someone coming up saying, hey, I'm looking for this specific, like, set that you have. I'm like, I don't have the, most recent set, or I don't have, like, anniversary cards that I'm not keeping, type thing. But one of the things was, one of the other questions that I got a whole bunch was, I've seen Weiss Schwarz, but I don't know, I don't know how expensive it is to get in, which I actually, today, as of the recording of this video, have rendered and made a video that will be going up in a couple weeks from recording of this, talking about, like, honestly, how affordable it is to get into Weiss for a lot of meta stuff if you're not collecting the higher rarity stuff and shinies. So it was very interesting to tell people, like, hey, I've literally made meta decks for like $50. So it was really cool to see people's reactions to that. And, like, you can easily get in, talking like that with them, talking that for Weiss, talking for Digimon, just really interesting in general.
We talked about that with, well, I did. You weren't there. We talked about that with some of the North Carolina Weiss people.
That was the next thing I was going to bring up, honestly, was that.
Yeah, so I ended up talking to them. These two guys came along, the two leaders of the North NC Weiss group. They came along, and we started talking.
Which they invited us to the Discord thing later on, so it was like very much appreciated. Thank you to y'all.
Very nice, and whenever you guys hear this, or if you hear it, Thank you. We ended up talking about some of the budget decks and like how we focus on trying to make budget decks to getting people into it.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's easy to get into it. It's not like Magic where you got to put $100, $200 into it just to play a format.
Or try to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like, oh, there's so many different summoning mechanics that have all sorts of different rules and stipulations. It's like, no, it's way fucking easier than that.
Mm-hmm. And another one I told a lot of people that were interested.
Mm-hmm.
I told them that when Weiss started doing regionals in the United States, there was one guy. I wish I knew his name so I could refer to him. But he took a trial deck to a regionals.
I know.
He destroyed everyone.
Fucking Disgaea trial deck. Then immediately that Disgaea trial deck shot up from like $20 to like $100+ overnight. It was hilarious.
Yeah, he destroyed everyone with the trial deck at a regionals. Like, that shows you how fair the game can be.
I know who you're talking about. I think I tried to reach out to them when it happened because I think I tried to invite them to a podcast episode. I don't remember.
Just to pick their brain.
Just to be like, what were you cooking? Like,
sir, what were you cooking in that kitchen?
Like, people don't understand Overlord Glaharl. So that's what that weekend turned into, and that specific level 3 shot the fuck up. Sadly, I did not have those.
The whole thing for us is we want to work on getting people into the game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show the aspect of you can make a good deck for like $50 or less. Which in a trading card game is like, what the fuck? Like I can make an actual good deck for cheap. I don't think you can do that in Yu-Gi-Oh!
No.
I don't think you can do that in Pokemon. I don't think you can do that in MTG. Well, it depends on the format in MTG.
It depends, because there is the pauper tournaments, which is like the commons and uncommons only. But for Yu-Gi-Oh! A single extra deck monster can be $50+. And you need it for like your combos and shit. Okay. I'm going to tell a quick story. One of the things that makes me want to build a lot of budget decks is because I've had decks in the past stolen. I've had multiple decks in the past, Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks in the past that were stolen from me that were worth hundreds of dollars. And I'd be lying if I didn't say it gave me a little bit of a trauma for that. So I'm like, I don't want to have a $500 deck anymore, because I don't want to have invested all of that money. And, especially back then when I wasn't really buying cards online, I was buying them from individual people or trading them or buying cards to trade to people to pick up decks that were in the hundreds of dollars. Specifically back in the day, Lightsworn. If anybody knows what the fuck those were, shit was high rarity. Shit was hella expensive. I bought boxes upon boxes. I traded. I tried to search for anyone who had these cards because I wasn't really able to buy stuff online at the time. I just didn't have the ways to do so. And not once, but twice minimum, just for Lightsworn and other shit and later on, 2 Lightsworn decks high rarity got stolen from me that at the peak was probably anywhere from $600 to $700 from the versions I had. So because of that, I'm like, fuck it. I don't want to ever build an expensive deck like this ever again. So that's one reason why I try to lean so much more towards the budget side of it. Like, especially for Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like, okay, I can make a deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or MTG or whatever that is cheap and can work. And then for Weiss, it's like, oh, I can build the meta shit that's cheap and does work. It's proven to work. Like, what the fuck? So
it's great.
So like you said, sorry, going a little bit of a tangent there. Like you said, you were talking to like the NC Weiss people, and we found out. I guess I have to ask you now. Do we want to drop the name of the store that was doing this?
No. Keep it anonymous.
Okay. We found out one of the other major stores was overcharging people a lot for entry. And was there anything else they were doing? I remember you telling me that.
So when the shop circuit came around,
okay,
the fee was what was it, $10 or something? Like I forget what the regular fee was.
I think it was.
Yeah, they were charging $25.
Okay,
for the shop tournament.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you. It was ridiculous amount, and then when they realized only 4 people, and they're like, "Oh, we'll here's the actual price," and no one entered it. And after that, it just stopped supporting Weiss. I wonder why Weiss people stopped going to the store.
Yep. Like I said, we're not going to name drop, but we found out that was a thing, so it kind of hurt the scene for that.
And then charging $8 for a pack of cards too kind of hurts it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't care if it's an older, pack or whatever. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, so that kind of hurt a lot of the crowd for North Carolina specifically, is where we're from, obviously. So we're going to talk about that. And so, obviously there are still some other places that are trying to help build back up the Weiss community, but we're going to be trying to do that as well. At the end of June, I don't remember exactly when I'm planning to post this particular episode. So one of the things we're going to do, and I'm going to have a short little announcement video saying the same thing, is we're actually going to be trying to do a Learn to Play event at a convention in Greenville, North Carolina, to try to help facilitate that type of thing. Like, that video will have more of the details in terms of where and when, but like, that's something we're specifically wanting to do, and specifically wanting to try to help a lot more, because it's very affordable to get in right now. It's not that difficult to learn. Maybe there's some little intricacies on like effects and stuff that's a little bit more advanced that it takes a little bit to learn, but in terms of jumping right in, it's not that difficult. And I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to help, especially with the people who had that location, that store they wanted to go to. They can't really go there now, or they don't want to go there now, let's say. So we're going to be trying to help, obviously, like say with the NC Weiss Discord and everything, trying to help build that back up in whatever ways we can. So that was just something I kind of want to say.
It's a good game that doesn't need to die. It's just one of those things that we need to focus on getting people out there,
Exactly. So, I mean, I still am friends with a lot of the people who are out there. So I'm going to try to hit them up and be like, hey, I know it's a bit of a drive to Greenville, but, here's what we're going to be trying to do. Which I think they said there's still another store in Raleigh, which, I mean, I don't mind plugging the one that's still actually actively having a Weiss crowd.
Game Armory, Guild Armory? Hold on.
Guild Armory, yeah. So, while he's pulling that. Yeah, I'll say there was one other really good one that was part of the
Gamers Armory.
Gamers Armory? Okay. Sorry for in Cary, North Carolina. So, I haven't been by there. I want to go check that out and see that. Which, trying to think of any other stuff that's like really interesting throughout the entire weekend. Like I said, there was a lot of people. I saw a lot of really cool cosplays. To switch gears for a second here, one of the coolest ones, I saw some cosplays for Honkai Star Rail, and I've just been getting into that recently. So I was really happy to see those. Obviously, the bountiful amounts of Makima cosplays.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad there weren't some Denjis on some leashes, but it's okay.
I saw several Denjis, but not on leashes. I saw one particular Makima walking around with like a just hanging around her neck, like not like attached to her, but just kind of had the leash, like a chain leash hanging around her neck, and at the end of one of the chains was like a spiked collar. I just kind of looked over and went, woof,
Yeah, exactly. Woof, woof, woof,
woof, woof.
There is a lot of good cosplays this weekend. What made me happy was the rise of the Vash the Stampede.
Yes, there was so much Vash. I loved seeing that. There was like one person came up, and I think they ended up getting some cards from me. I don't remember. But they specifically said, yeah, I made this coat myself, and I just wear this to work. I don't remember what they said they did for work. But they just said, yeah, I just made this, and it's so durable. I just wear it at work, and this is like my daily wear. I cosplay every day. Like,
yeah, I literally offered them money. I was like, I will pay you to make me a coat like this.
Absolutely, because it was very fucking good quality. It was so cool. Lots of just other interesting cosplays and stuff. Oh my goodness, what else? I had thoughts together for a lot of the other stuff that we want to talk about, but then there's just I'm trying to think of like other finer details. Let's see. So obviously I saw a bunch of people that I hadn't seen in a long time from like another place that I went to for Yu-Gi-Oh! I got to see a whole bunch of people who went there. It was hilarious because Nick was like, how do you keep finding these people? Because I would see someone that I knew from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Years ago and be like, hey dude, what's good? How's it like? I hadn't seen them since like before COVID. And they would come over, I get to talking to him, they'd glance over at like his rare DVDs or whatever and be like, oh shit, I want this. and like fucking buy $200, worth of anime DVDs or some shit. And Nick would be like, how do you keep finding these people? Call more over. And I'm like, I'll find more eventually. And just, once again, I would just see people going past. And I really enjoyed that aspect of being able to interact with so many people. Being a dealer, or being a vendor in the dealer's room, like, it was a very fun experience. I didn't get the full experience last year, because most of what I was doing last year was just trying to help Nick's like sell his DVDs and stuff like that. He still had help, but we was able to get like another table last year, where
another booth at last second.
Yeah, because they basically someone had backed out. So he's like, I'll rent out that space, and they was like,
conveniently beside us, they happened to back out.
Totally wasn't sabotaged. Looking at you here, Nick. Now, anyway, but that was really cool. So most of that last year, which like later on, I had like a singular binder of some of my rare shit on me. He was like, oh, if you want to sell your cards, go for it. And I'm like, you sure? So I was able to sell like a couple things last year. But I didn't get the full experience. And I got the full experience this year, and I thought it was really, really fun. That I cannot wait for next year, or whatever next big convention we have, to do it again. Obviously, we're gonna have like the one in Greenville. We're gonna have like trial decks. We're gonna have sealed product. I didn't really have sealed product. Nick had like some AOT booster boxes, girl. And it was the Dreaming Girl set specifically. He had some of those, so we had people, they love to play the gotcha, and they're just like, oh, let's grab like 5 packs or so and see what the fuck we pull. And so that was really cool to see that. We were trying to offload some dot hack card game packs, which I had only discovered about 2 or 3 weeks before Animazement happened. And so Joe was like, oh, hey, there's this card game. I can get you bulk of this very easily. And we got several boxes of them. So
yep,
that was really fun. I'm just trying to think of other like aspects, just other things that was like really cool. The only thing that was a little bit of a pain was the connected to the convention center is the Red Hat, the Raleigh Convention Center. Red Hat. We were all livid about this. The Red Hat Amphitheater apparently scheduled some kind of musical performance to happen right as the dealer's room was closing, and people were trying to get their cars around to get their product loaded up to be able to fucking leave. And because, so you had to go back behind the Red Hat Amphitheater through this small little road to get to the loading docks for the dealer's room. It was just how it was connected. It's just how it was. And this was the stupidest shit where they're just like, oh, our event is more important than y'all needing to pack up and go home. We're closing down this little back road for like 2+ hours.
The thing that got me, there were vendors in that cargo bay, and they literally told them, no, we're kidnapping you and keeping you here for 2 hours. You are not allowed to leave.
Yeah. Like they could, even the people who were in there couldn't do anything. But even the ones who had already gotten into the unloading bay couldn't do shit. So that was the most annoying thing, where we just had to go, well, fuck it. Let's just get a cart and take the elevators, go up out through the front of the convention center with what product we have left, and then pack up Nick's van. And just, that's literally what we had to do. Luckily, all of the stuff that I had, because I had sold a whole bunch of the bulk stuff, I didn't have a lot of heavy stuff. I was able to get all of my stuff out in like just my hands in one trip. So, that was really fucking easy for just my end of stuff. The rest of it was like all the extra DVDs and manga and everything that Nick couldn't sell. So we still had to load up a good bit of stuff. But I mean, like, a lot of shit sold, so it was way, way lighter than when we initially loaded it in. But it just, like, it took us like 30 minutes. Once we actually said, okay, fuck it, brute force and ignorance, get our shit up there, done. It was like 30 minutes, but these, for just us. And there were so many vendors still stuck down there. That was the only pain in the ass, but that wasn't the convention's fault. That was the amphitheater. Because, people don't know how to plan stuff properly. Any words you have on that one? Because you were just as livid because you were in the line. to go in there.
I will give you a TLDR. It's in the video I've literally released today. I sat there for 2 hours in this small parking lot, which is probably maybe about 50 spaces if you had to space it out accordingly. In this big loop-de-loop with box trucks, vans, everything. My little tiny RAV4. I waited 2 hours. To the point I literally was taking a nap at one point because we didn't move. I literally had my pillow and everything in there, so I took a nap.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, so after I got near the front, I was like the second car to leave. The guy goes up, knocks on the window. By the way, it's a blackout. No one can go in and out for the next 2 hours because of the concert. Nick was behind me. I was pissed. I was about to start cursing out the senile old man who didn't know what he was doing. I said, you know what? I went up to Nick. And I was like, we're loading in from the side. And then we ended up doing it from the front because it was easier. But I was livid because I should have been home. At that point, I think it was like 6:30 or so.
The dealer's room closed at 3 p.m., to which we could immediately start packing our shit up.
And we were done by 3:45 and ready to go.
Yeah. It was like, okay, all of our shit's packed up. We just need to get the cars into the loading bay and then just wheel the shit over there. And that was it. That was all we had to do. And it's like fucking 6:30 or some shit. By the time he comes up to me and is like, he calls me up and goes, yeah, so this is what's happening. And I've been sitting at our table, just sitting there, just like looking through cards, just like doing some like test playing in my mind for like SAO and quintuplets and stuff, just like looking through decks. And then he's like, yeah, this is what's going on. And I went from like 0 to 100, just like the actual fuck. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go grab a cart right now, loading shit up. So, and yeah, so that's what happened. So, but okay, so that was the only thing that was really bad about it. Everything else, the people that came up they were so nice. Being able to interact with people and talk with all of the people that came up that, you know, interested in different animes and whatnot. Even the security personnel, like every morning that we went down there to get ready for selling and whatnot, there was a couple security personnel that specifically came to our booth to talk to us about anime stuff. And they also bought a whole bunch of shit too, but they're just like, yeah, man, have you heard of this? Have you heard of that? Like, just all sorts of different, like, some anime I knew of, some anime I'd never heard of before, and just like finding other people who just had the same like-minded people is just so nice to be around. I enjoyed the hell out of that. So
it's always nice to change the pace. But me and Nick are going to be doing it again in August.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
It's not going to work out for me because I think I looked at the weeks. I'm going to be probably out on the road for work, so I'm probably not going to be able to help them with that. Might toss some SPs at you to see if you want to sell those.
We'll discuss it. We'll figure it out.
Oh man, what else? Any other stuff you want to discuss in terms of that? Because I'm still trying to think of like other stuff just to talk about. Like I say that because like there's a lot to talk about, but I'm trying to think of specific things to talk about. So
all I'm gonna say is just remember General Con etiquette. There was a groper running around.
Oh yeah.
Which, if I ever find you, I'm gonna break your arm, and I mean that. So literally.
So basically, my brother, his wife comes up to me and says, "Hey, on the way down here, because my brother was sleeping because he had felt really bad for some reason. And he was taking a nap. So she's like, I'll go down here to the dealer's room and bug Kate a little bit. On the way down, she said, or she tells me, hey, on the way down here, someone decided to grab my ass. And I go, do what? That meme of the guy of the dude just kind of like blinking, just what? She's like, oh, and earlier I was in cosplay and they tried to grab my boobs. Or someone else tried to grab my boobs. I'm like, and you didn't get like a person's face, or what were they wearing? She's like, no, it happened so fast they disappeared into the crowd for both times. So this is something I'm going to say extremely positive in terms of the convention staff. They were, we obviously were like, okay, we need to tell the convention staff for security so that they can be on the lookout for whoever the fuck's doing this. And after we told them about this, I'm like, yeah, this is, you know, this is what's going on. And, you know, she gave her testimony, I guess, is, she gave her account for it. They kept checking up with us the rest of the weekend, and was just they were so nice and so polite, and they were so apologetic, yet it wasn't their fault, Just to say, like, we are so sorry that this happened to you. It's like, you're good. Like, this isn't going to stop us from coming back. We just don't want it to happen to anyone else, Like we've been going, because I've been going to AZ since like 2009. Obviously, except for the years of COVID, I've been every year since 2009. And like I told him, I was like, bro, I'll be real. This isn't going to stop me from coming back next year. This isn't going to stop me from being a dealer next year or anything. But I just don't want it to affect someone else in that regard. And they were very understanding of that. But they kept, I don't know, maybe it was more because of I was a dealer that I was, I come up and they saw my dealer's badge and went, hey, this guy's, saying, hey, this is what's going on with my family, What? So, but they were extremely professional and wonderful about that, checking up with all security, checking cameras and everything about this. So we were extremely like happy and very glad they did that. I'm hoping they eventually caught the person. I think by Sunday they said they hadn't, but maybe they did, or maybe the person realized that security was a bit tighter and they got out of there. So cosplay is not consent, y'all. Stop it. Get some help. So
there are some people that, and then like there were some people that came up to the booth, criticized our product, and then tried to talk to us.
Okay, do what now?
Yeah, so this guy came up. He came up multiple times. And he, like, came up here, looked at our prices, said, we're too expensive, we need to lower them. Then would try to talk about different anime to me and Nick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Common Courtesy. If you have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And don't insult the person, then immediately try to become friends with them.
You think it was like a tactic where it's like, oh, if I, maybe they'll drop the price if I say that their product's shit or something?
No, it's someone who, I'm about to sound really mean. I need to stop. But it's someone who just doesn't have common courtesy, doesn't have social etiquette. Let's leave it at that.
Which that's a lot now,
Yeah, that's an understatement. But I mean, those were the only problems we really had this weekend. The random groper, people doing that, and then Red Hat Amphitheater. Animation staff was fantastic this year. Mm-hmm. They had all the stuff good to go. We didn't really have any problems. It was nice and good. We were good. And I really enjoyed it.
Same. No, I cannot wait for it next year. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to have another weekend break. It's going to be nice.
It's like, we just got done with one vacation. We're ready for another, basically. Like, that's the thing. Is like, we're working the entire fucking weekend, but that is a vacation to us.
Yeah.
Like, that speaks volumes, So.
And I mean, it also, I was recording and doing stuff for YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's a good chance for me to do, like, 3 videos back to back or something like that,
Absolutely. Which I know you said you had, like, 2 or 3 videos, like, for this entire thing for it. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! So, just a lot of, like I said, I wish I should have like recorded some kind of vlog or something, or even if I had just taken pictures to share up on the Discord, because then people could join the Discord and check out like, hey, this is what was we were selling. This is the booth we were at. Because I did make a small little like announcement video saying that's where we were gonna be. I even put out a bounty on myself, but I'm assuming no one who watches it was able to like show up. Maybe they probably just weren't in North Carolina. Because I had like 4 or 5 decks on me ready to play against anyone who challenged me to a Weiss game.
This man came over prepared.
I came very over. I had playmats. I had all my dice, which I bought more dice there. That is my addiction. I'm addicted to card games. But the other big one is dice collecting, and I absolutely have way too many dice. No, I don't have enough. But I had everything ready for just being able to play against anyone. So the funny part is, after we had loaded shit up and we were kind of waiting for a little bit in the dealer's room, Nick was like, hey, I want to play you in Weiss. I haven't played a Weiss game in a hot minute, because he used to go over to our locals in Greenville. And that's where we know him from and where we had met him and everything. And he was like, yeah, I don't know a bunch of the newer decks, but I'd be happy to check them out because I just want to play a game. And I'm like, no, that's fair. So I played 8 standby quintuplets against him because he specifically wanted to play against it.
God bless, he didn't know.
So I'm like, do you know what standby does? He goes, nope. So I got to explain that to him, and he went, oh, okay. Well, let's see how consistent this is. And then I start doing like some of the combos and shit. And he's like, oh, this is stupid consistent. I'm like, yes, sir. So he got to learn that one very quick. That was, I think, the only game we played. And then he's like, I'm good. So
yeah, no, he saw the meta and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna stop. You know
I had SAO on me as well. My budget version of the SAO anniversary. So video on that soon. If not, it might already be out by the time this comes out. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I got a whole bunch of acrylic charms from the Artist Alley. They already had Honkai Star Rail acrylic charms out, and that shit's not been out that long. I was like, yes, give me this. I got a whole bunch of Fate ones. I got me a little MASH figurine from Fate Grand Order. I thought that was cool. Any good hauls for you?
I mean, I got tons of video games. I got
you got that Ni no Kuni one, right?
Yes, don't give me fucking you try to trigger me. So what happened? I explained this in another video. What happened? As a payment, Nick usually pays me in video games or something. I'm cheap to help him. So he had a collector's edition for Ni no Kuni 2, brand new. The only thing was the box was open. Everything else was still sealed, wrapped in plastic, etc. We literally finished unloading everything. I had it in my hand. We walked into the cargo bay. I literally put it down in my car. Hey, you selling that? Out of nowhere, a staff member comes out of nowhere and we sold it so Nick could get his first $50 of the con. I was just like, God, man, can't have anything nice.
I'm gaslighting him, but it was very funny. He's like, yes, this is going to be great. Because it was a huge, like, collector's edition box and everything. It was very nice. And then it just was gone like that. It was
oh boy.
Just as we drove away from the cargo bay area, I just look over, I'm like, bro, are you crying? He's like, no.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't crying.
It's like, no, these are just something's in my eye. But it was a wonderful, wonderful vacation. I very much enjoyed being able to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time. So even my brother, who is also a truck driver, our schedules don't typically line up. So it's typically whenever we just happen to have like the same week off or something, we'll try to meet up. But even that hasn't happened since like sometime last year. So I was able to see him and everything. Able to hang out with, the boys. Also, a lot of fucking good food. There's one ramen shop we went back to like twice. It was like so fucking delicious. So
it was so good. The food in the air is pretty good.
Got to meet Joe's editor for the first in person, and the whole crowd that he was with just was absolutely awesome. So Eli, you're amazing. If you're listening to this, you're amazing. That is about it, though. Do you have any other closing things? Because I think I'm about done. I figure we'd get wrapping up in a second here, but if you have any other things you want to close out with, by all means.
Just be kind, be curious, or courteous, not curious.
No, that is the exact opposite of what we need. We do not need people being curious. What do we have? We just talked about a group, bro.
Not like that. Not like that. But be kind. Remember, cosplay isn't consent. Support your local businesses, and don't grade every single card you get because you're part of the problem.
Yeah, don't be part of the problem. Yeah, with that, thank y'all very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. Please like and subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for checking us out. Feel free to join the Discord. Feel free to go check out Joe Schmo. Links for his stuff, Twitch and YouTube will be in the description. And that's it. We're going to sign off. We will see you on the flip side. Peace.
Bye.